You have low self-esteem because you keep doing these 6 habits that are destroying your self-esteem without you even realizing it. And in this video, I'll share these 6 self-esteem destroying habits that you might be doing, how to stop doing them, and what to do instead to build up your self-esteem. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first habit that destroys your self-esteem is negative selection. Let me explain. Let's say you have a beautiful body, you're tall and you have long, beautiful legs, and everybody envies your genetics. But all you see is that you're the tallest girl of the group, and that makes you super uncomfortable. You hate yourself for being the tallest girl in the group, but what you don't see is that it's actually an asset. Instead of focusing on the positive aspects that you have a beautiful body, beautiful long legs, you're focused on the negative aspects that you're too tall. You focus on the negative so much that it outweighs the positive. Or let's imagine that for today you planned yourself 6 tasks to finish. You finish 4 tasks out of those 6 tasks, but you're upset about those 2 tasks you didn't finish. Instead of giving yourself credit of how productive you've been because you finished 4 tasks out of 6. Or you plan to work out 5 times this week, but instead you worked out only 3 times. And now you think you're a lazy ass because you didn't work out 5 times, and you completely ignore the fact that, come on, you worked out 3 times this week already. That's such an achievement to celebrate. Or you're a super stylish person. You're like a fashionista, always on point. But one day you wake up late, or for some other reason, you fail to put together a nice outfit. You feel awful about yourself. You let yourself to be defined by that one day when your outfit wasn't on point, instead of acknowledging the fact that most of the times you're always stylish. This lowers your self-esteem because you're all the time focused on the negative aspects instead of giving yourself credit for the things that you do well. So how do we stop this negative selection to improve our self-esteem? Before, I used to be really insecure about my lips, specifically about the size of them. I thought that I couldn't be beautiful if I wouldn't get myself lip fillers, despite the fact that I received a lot of compliments on my appearance, specifically on my eyes. But I was very focused on my lips. But one beautiful day, I looked myself into a mirror and realized that, you know what? Big lips actually wouldn't fit my face. I have big nose, I have standing out eyes. Small lips are what God gave me, and that's what I need to live with. I realized that my small lips are exactly the thing that makes me unique, and if I would go and get myself lip fillers, I would look like everyone else. Acceptance of my own features the way they are help me to turn the features that once were negative to positive ones. Okay, so the step 1 to increasing your self-esteem is to stop this negative selection. And to stop this negative selection, you need to start accepting yourself the way you are. And I know it is really hard in the era where everyone is trying to look the same, but I challenge you to start celebrating your own uniqueness instead of trying to look like everyone else. Start recognizing what you do well and what's good about you. Your uniqueness is beautiful, and once you realize it, you become powerful. Very often we try to fit in, we're trained to fit in, but stop trying to fit in. Be you and focus your attention on what you do good. Because we are trained to focus on only the things we do bad. This starts already in schools when we do exams and then we get the exams back from the teacher. You get your exam paper back and everything you did wrong is underlined with a red pen. So already in school, they're training us to spot the things we do wrong. Why aren't they underlining the things we did good with a green pen then? By the way, this is a sarcastic question. The point is just to make you understand that it is trained in us to spot only the things we do wrong and what's bad about us, but I challenge you to start thinking about the good things, the things you do good. Start writing down every day 3 things that you did good or are good about you into your journal. And let's move on. The second habit that destroys your self-esteem is actively following beauty and fashion industry. Beauty and fashion industry loves to put on us new standards of beauty. All the time they come up with new ways to make us feel insecure, and then they also present us a solution to buy to cover those insecurities. So basically they're making a bag out of our insecurities. Today big noses are out, tomorrow they're in. Last year plus size was trending, this year is Pilates princess. Curly hair, straight hair, high waist, low waist. Every year it's something new. Every day it's something new. Stop taking these standards too seriously and create your own standards. Got a big nose? Well, me too. Yes, I used to hate it. I used to contour it to make it smaller, but today I put blush on top of it to bring out its whole majesty. So by accepting yourself the way you are, you start to see your own beauty. And when you start to see your own beauty, you start to feel comfortable in your own skin. And that's a real glow up if you ask me. The third habit that destroys your self-esteem is comparing yourself with others. This is a classic one. For example, I'm 25 and I'm working as a manager at a well-known brand, but my friend, she just opened a business, so I feel really unsuccessful. Or
She gained 50,000 new followers on Instagram and I only gained 1,000, so my content must be bad. But I'm completely ignoring the fact that she has 300,000 TikTok followers, which obviously helps, and I'm starting completely zero on all the platforms.
we all start at different points, but that doesn't mean you are not successful. It also doesn't mean that you can't be successful. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10. Imagine that you did something super good and you're super happy and proud of yourself. And then you see that someone did the same thing, but they did it a bit better than you. Can you feel that instant disappointment? Comparison is a thief of joy. Step number 3: to increase your self-esteem, you need to stop comparison. To end comparison, you need to accept where you are now and see your journey realistically. Then make a game plan of how you're gonna get where you want to get and take action. And you also need to stop judging yourself, because it's not the comparison that is bad in itself, it's comparison paired with judgment. Comparison in itself is not bad, because if no one else would have climbed on Mount Everest before you, how would you know that you can do that? Because someone actually went and climbed on Mount Everest, now you are inspired to do the same. But the judgment is what adds the negativity to comparison.
Oh, they climbed the Mount Everest before me. I will never manage to climb there quicker than they did.
So literally, the craziness of self-judgment is that you climb on Everest and then you be judging yourself for doing it. Accept who you are, how you are, and where you are. Some things you do better and some things others do better, and that's okay. Everyone has different lives and different starting points. And yes, sometimes life is also unfair, and sometimes some people have it better. And yes, sometimes someone has a better head start than you. But that's just life. It still doesn't mean that you're not worthy of it, or that you cannot be successful, or that some algorithm hates you. Stop judging yourself and see the magic happen. Let's move on to the 4th habit that destroys your self-esteem. I used to have friends who bullied me. I genuinely thought they were my friends, whereas they were just straight up bullying me, but I just didn't realize it then because I had zero sense of self-respect then. And what's even worse is that one of these bullies was my best friend, and she all the time commented on me in a negative way. How I talked, how I walked, how I looked, whatever the reason. I was super insecure then, and no wonder, because the people I saw every day were destroying my self-esteem on a daily basis. So the 4th habit that destroys your self-esteem is surrounding yourself with toxic people. They are so consistent in devaluing you. They're all the time pinpointing your flaws. And the worst thing is that if you have them around long time enough, you start to believe what they say. No one has the right to devalue you. Unless you have Eastern European parents, then this rule doesn't apply. The thing is that the things that others say about you to you can quite soon become the things you tell to yourself about yourself. The solution here to start building up your self-esteem is either build strong boundaries and communicate them, or completely cut off these people. I'll link a video about it, how to do it, up here and in the description below. Once I cut out my toxic bully friends, I started to feel so good about myself because no one was anymore destroying my self-esteem. I started to slowly build up my self-esteem by unlearning the lies that others told me about me that I took as the truth, and relearning new, better truths about myself. And you can do this too by keeping in mind this quote: others mistreat, devalue, or negatively comment on you, not because it's you, it's because they're frustrated with themselves. Let's move on to the 5th habit that destroys your self-esteem. I had a moment in my life, in my early 20s, when I felt really dissatisfied with my life. I felt like I didn't have much. I hadn't achieved enough. I felt really behind in life and that I was too old. But these thoughts were just sabotaging my life, because with these thoughts I was taking away from myself my future. And then it just got worse and worse. Self-sabotage and perfectionism are the 5th habits that destroy your self-esteem.
I could be still a little bit more skinnier, I could earn more, I could do more, I could be more.
The whiny, ungrateful bitch inside of you that never recognizes your achievements, aka the inner voice that's constantly whining that things could be better and is never happy no matter what. To quiet this inner bitch, practicing gratitude will be really helpful. You can do this by keeping a diary of success where you always write all your achievements, big and small, and then you keep it close to you so you can always get back to it whenever that whiny bitch creeps back. This will really help to quiet the inner critic. Similar way as toxic people around you destroy your self-esteem, so do negative people who are dissatisfied with their lives as well. The people who you surround yourself with plays a really big role in your life. It's not for nothing this saying that you become the average of your 5 closest people. So if you surround yourself with this kind of people who are all the time whining, they're complaining, they're ungrateful, they're not satisfied with their lives, they don't find joy in anything, basically their cup is always half empty, well, guess what? Soon you'll find things to complain about in your life too. You want to surround yourself with people who love themselves and their lives, who are positive, optimistic, self-responsible people. They steer clear from victim mentality, people who vibe high and have good energy, because these things are contagious as fuck. So try to get rid of this type of people, but in case you can't, because you cannot always just cut every person out of your life. Sometimes you just can't do that. And for those cases, I have 3 options for you that you could do to preserve your energy and not get affected by their bad energy, bad vibes. Option number 1. Imagine a glass wall between you and them. Picture their negativity bouncing back from that glass wall, keeping their energy from affecting you. For example, one of my friends, she's going through a really hard time right now in her life, and sometimes she can be really negative, but I still love her super much, so I don't want to cut her out, obviously. So sometimes when she gets a little bit too negative, I'm just picturing this thing in the middle of us that her negative energy can't just affect me. Alternatively, option number 2, you can tell them that you just don't want to discuss these topics, these negative topics with them. For example, I have one person in my life who tends to watch a lot of news, but I don't want to watch news. I don't spend my time watching news because it's a lot of negativity. Everything in news is very negative focused. But this person likes to discuss these topics very often. But I don't want to discuss these topics because they are negative. So I just gently tell this person that I don't want to discuss these topics. Option number 3, develop your own practices that charge you with a lot of good energy. And whenever you're affected by the negativity of other people, you do these practices and you're recharged again. Finally, to develop strong self-esteem, the most important habit that you should be doing and never stop doing is self-love. Learn to give yourself some love. Learn to appreciate yourself here and now. Loving yourself is not weird. It is also not selfish. Respect yourself enough to give yourself love. The most effective and the simplest way to increase your self-love is by doing more of those things that give you a lot of energy. For me, it's dancing, and for you, it can be something else. And also, do not ignore the small things that you can do for yourself on a daily basis, or sometimes that might feel like such a meaningless thing to do, but actually they affect so extremely much your sense of self-love. For example, pampering yourself once in a while. Do a cleansing face mask. Organize a self-care evening for yourself. Wake up a little earlier to make your favorite smoothie for yourself, or go to cafe to buy the most tasty croissant. Go to movies, book a dance class, Pilates class, yoga class, whatever class you take. Organize a cozy movie evening for yourself. Put some candles, get yourself your favorite treats, and then put on a nice 90s aesthetic rom-com. Speaking of which, I run out of 90s rom-coms to watch, so if you have any recommendations for me, please let me know in the comments because I love them. Basically, develop a habit to take time for yourself, your alone time, to recharge and tune into yourself. Self-love is also consciously choosing with who you live with, where you work at, who you're friends with, and in what kind of mood you decide to spend your days in. Make your everyday life such that there is just no other way than to start loving yourself. I cut out my bully friends. I broke up with my narcissistic ex. I stopped forcing myself working jobs I didn't like. I got my dream body and became healthy. I got rid of acne. I grew my hair. Moved out of a small town I hated. Moved abroad, New York, Sweden, Amsterdam. Landed myself my dream internships in fashion. I completely reinvented my life and decided to give myself everything that the little girl inside of me dreams about. That is the ultimate form of self-love. And you can also start practicing self-love already today by watching this video.